welcome to the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Today we're going to talk about the ins and outs of demand deposits. The role of banks is very helpful in managing the financial life of society and the state. The presence of banks with banking services in collecting funds and distributing funds to carry out their functions for the welfare of the community. Bank activities in raising funds are savings, deposits, time deposits, and demand deposits, then distributed in the form of loans or bank loans such as business capital loans. Discussing banking services, it seems that you are quite familiar with the term savings, deposits, and credit. But what is a demand deposit? Have you understood the use of demand deposit? The definition of a demand deposit is a customer order letter to a bank depositing funds to transfer a certain amount of funds from the customer's account to the beneficiary's account. Demand deposits are securities or transaction instruments issued by a bank as a substitute for cash and can be disbursed non-cash through book entry to the relevant account according to the date stated in the demand deposits. So, a demand deposit is a customer order letter to a bank that stores funds to transfer a certain amount of funds from their account to the account of the designated recipient. The benefit of the demand deposit is the ease of book entry of funds from an account to the account of the designated beneficiary. Usually, demand deposits are widely used in payments for the business world, such as companies issuing demand deposits to pay for products from suppliers. As previously explained, demand deposit is a non-cash payment instrument for banking. Non-cash payment instruments are payment methods for transactions without physical cash. Examples of non-cash payment instruments are credit cards, debit cards, checks, demand deposits, or using electronic money or e-money. Differences between demand deposits and checks: both are non-cash payment instruments in the form of bank orders, but there are differences between checks and demand deposit. So what is a check? A check is an order to a bank to withdraw a certain amount of funds on behalf of the customer or another name written on the check. Still not clear on the difference? Let us examine further the difference between a check and a demand deposit. The first one, payment method. The demand deposit mechanism is book entry in the recording of an account at a bank. Demand deposit cannot be used as cash directly but is transferred to the beneficiary's account first. Then it's up to the recipient to cash out or leave it in the account balance. While the check mechanism, other than book entry, is more generally disbursed into cash. The check holder can directly visit the bank listed on the check letter to request that it be disbursed into cash or overbook. Second, how to withdraw. How to cash a demand deposit. The way to disburse a demand deposit is that you can visit the bank account office in your name to ask for it to be disbursed. No need to visit the issuing bank of the deposit. Demand deposit funds can be withdrawn during the withdrawal grace period. Meanwhile, the way to disburse a check is by looking at the name of the bank listed on the check letter, then requesting the disbursement of funds to your account. You must visit the bank office as stated on the check. The third one, withdrawal deadline. Funds in the demand deposits can be submitted for book entry by the beneficiary starting on the effective date of the stated withdrawal until the validity period, that is 70 days. On the other hand, The grace period for checks to be withdrawn is 70 days plus 6 months from the date of withdrawal. Fourth, transfer of ownership. Ownership is a demand deposit payment order is only valid if it is submitted by the name of the recipient listed and cannot be transferred to another person. Whereas in a non-cash check payment order, anyone can redeem the check money or the ownership of the check can be transferred to another party. So how do you think? Do you understand better what is meant by demand deposit?